What's going on? It's Jason Heath, and I am on the road, kind of in the middle to the end of a week-long trip. And I did a video recently on what I carry when I go to the gig. I will link to that in the description below. This is a little bit of a different video. I also do a lot of travel, and I do a lot of trips like this. This particular trip, I went to Memphis, Tennessee to rehearse and perform a concert, and then I went to Pittsburgh for the Pittsburgh Double Bass Symposium. So I needed a specific set of gear, and I'm sure that the people that need this exact gear watching this video is small, but you probably have trips like this in your life, music related or no. So I needed a suit and dress shoes for the concert. I needed my bow for the concert. I also needed my camera gear, which I'm talking to you on. I will show that to you later in the video on another camera. And I needed to be able to record this event in interesting ways and get good audio and video. And then I needed to live. I needed clothes and I needed toiletries, and I fit that all in these two bags. One is by Peak Design. I just love this company and this bag. Most of my gear is from Peak these days, travel related gear. I have a bow case that serves as both the holder for my two French bass bows and all my kind of bass performance tchotchkes. Everything I need to actually play the rehearsals and concerts is inside that bow case. And then I have a small roller bag, and I like to keep that as small as possible. I use this I-Case roller bag. We'll get into that, and that brand has been fine. I might use a different brand, but I really like that form factor. So let's dive in and see what I bring on the road to be as efficient as possible and get the job done. Okay, let's start with the I-Case. This is just my roller bag, and I'm a big fan of bags within bags. So I love these packing cubes. These are by Peak Design. Usually I'm just bringing one of these, but because I needed a suit, I brought two. So this is the small packing cube by Peak, and one of the cool things they have is this compression strap here. So you can undo it, and the bag really poofs out. So if you're trying to fit something like a suit, like I was in here, that makes it much easier to get in, and then you can compress it and really save the space. And I am looking to bring the minimum amount of square footage, or whatever the term is, on the road with me. So this really helps, and I always pretty much have time to uncompress. This does wrinkle my clothes a bit, but not so bad actually. And once I get them out and air them out, and I can always iron them if I need to, I find that this works great. Another cool thing about this bag is that it's got just this little pull tab, so you can pull it and open it up, and in here I have my suit, coat, and pants, and I needed a tie for this gig, so that's in the main compartment. Another thing that's brilliant about these Peak travel cubes is that they have a secondary compartment for your dirty clothes. So I put my dirty white shirt in here, and I just love being able to separate that out. Also, that makes it really easy when I get home. I just know that I pull this small zipper here, and I pull whatever is in that part just right into the washer, and I'm good to go. Just so easy, and just anything I can do to eliminate chaos and clutter and what do I have to do, and just make these trips as easy as possible, I find really important. I also have this size packing cube. I believe this is the medium packing cube. This is what I bring on the road pretty much all the time. By the way, if I'm just going out for like a couple days, I can get away with putting some clothes in the small one, and this fits into my Peak backpack really well. For these longer trips, when I know I'm gonna bring the hard shell roller bag, I bring this. And again, same thing. I am minimal in terms of what I wear on, well, in general, but certainly on the road. And so I have, in the main compartment, I usually just have black t-shirts, and I have underwear, Patagonia underwear, generally Patagonia or Under Armour t-shirts, and then just some like Under Armour short socks. That's what I wear almost all the time. You'll notice there's not much in this side because I'm going home tomorrow, but the dirty side is full, and it's gonna be great. I also bring the Peak Design shoe pouch, no big deal. I just wanna keep my shoes not getting dirty on all my other stuff. And then for this particular trip, I had no idea what the weather's gonna be like. So I brought an umbrella, which I'm gonna need today because it's gonna rain all day in Pittsburgh, and I brought gloves because I'm in Pittsburgh. I live in San Francisco, generally don't need gloves, but it's gonna get down to 36 today, so these are both going in my bag today. The only other bit of clothing that I needed were some comfy shorts. I love these Patagonia shorts, they are awesome. I also bring one long sleeve layer, that's generally all I need. I kind of run hot, so t-shirts are good for me most of the time, but the rehearsal space was pretty cold in Memphis, and so I just have a long sleeve shirt, and I try to bring something that is dark. Wrinkles tend to show up less on dark stuff, and I can be a sweaty mess of a human, so that is less obvious on a dark shirt. So that's there. That will go, I'm going to wear it today, but then that will go into the dirty pouch in the Peak Design cube, and then I just throw that into the wash when I get home. And then finally, my Patagonia puffer coat. This has been super useful useful because Memphis, nights were cold. Pittsburgh, I'm gonna need it here, but a lot of the time I don't want it to take up too much space in my bag. So this just crumples right down and can go to the top of my Peak Design travel bag. So that's clothing. Now, the other big thing I bring is electronics. I have all sorts of gadgets from iPads to cameras to more, and that all basically lives in this Peak Design travel backpack. This is designed for cameras, although it works great for all sorts of people. My wife uses it for every day. She actually tried to fill out a questionnaire for Peak Design, and the first question was, what kind of camera do you use? And she was like, none. I just love it for its design. It has this modular bento box kind of set up here, and it is empty right now, so I will show you the gear that goes in here, and then we'll pack it up. First off, my iPad Pro. This goes with me on every single trip. This acts as my laptop computer. I have the iPad Pro with the Logitech case, and I like this because the keyboard detaches. This is a nice stand, so if I just want to view and watch stuff at night, I can do that. I can lay it flat. I can put it on the music stand like this. The Apple Pencil goes right here, which I find incredibly useful, and I've done many, many videos on using the iPad, so if you want to see how I use Fourscore on the road and that kind of thing, I'll link that in the description below also. I also have the LTE version, so I'm not dependent on Wi-Fi. Now, I have Wi-Fi here in the hotel. I have Wi-Fi most places, but sometimes you don't have Wi-Fi and you don't want to mess around if you have 10 minutes or something, and I find that having the LTE is just great because everywhere, at least here in the US, I can get a little bit of work done and I don't have to worry about getting on the Wi-Fi, maybe the Wi-Fi's not working, or maybe just that little bit of time. And again, trying to save time in my life, it's worth the added bit of monthly expense to me. The thing I'm constantly reaching for all day is my charging pack right here. This is just a little pencil case, and I'm on the road now, so I am bringing my hardcore Anker Power Brick. It fits in here. It is a bit heavier than my smaller one that I use when I'm out and about, but it has USB-C, so it charges quickly, and it will charge my iPad and charge it up. If I use my smaller one that doesn't have USB-C, just the USB-A, it just kind of maintains the charge. If I don't use the iPad, it'll like inch it up bit by bit, but this will get the iPad back up in a hurry. Also, I have other USB-C devices, cameras and batteries and stuff, and so I want to be able to film all day when I'm at an event and make sure that my devices don't run out of power if there isn't power. And again, I'm trying to be minimal, so I don't want to carry an extension cord that would take up a ton of space in my minimal carry. So I have this, and then I have a lens cloth because you never know what you need to be wiping down. And I carry 3 cables. I have a USB-C to USB-C, about this long, not too long because again, trying to save space, but long enough that I can have my iPad and not have to worry about my brick being right up against it. I have this teensy weensy little lightning for my phone, and then a USB micro, I believe is what that one is. That's what some of my battery packs are, and so these 3 cords I can get away with. If I'm bringing my AirTurn and playing off my iPad, I need to have a USB mini, the other size cord, so that takes up a little more space, but not much. So this is my battery pack, my charging station, and this lives in the top of my bag, and I am reaching for this thing all day. I also really got into this kind of a stand for being on the road for my phone and for my Apple Watch, which is on right now, and my AirPods. I used to have 3 different cables and everything was just kind of a mess, and I find that I do a lot of work whether I'm staying in a friend's house or something like that, or whether I'm staying at a hotel or an Airbnb, and so this just lives on the desk and my phone's right there. I can access my phone, my Apple Watch can go right there on this and stay charged. And I find that this, even though this device right here takes up a bit of space, it's well worth it. And the cool thing is that it packs down to be flat. So I usually just put this in the bottom of my eye case or sometimes in my backpack, but this thing is pretty sturdy. I've never worried about it breaking in. It's not mission critical if I don't have this, but I like it and I find that it just makes life a little more civilized on the road, and that's a nice thing. Anytime I am bringing gear to record things, I also bring this tech pouch, also by Peak Design. I think this design is brilliant. There are all sorts of little pockets in here and little spots you can attach this bag or use it in a variety of contexts, a little handle right here. And what I bring is one of these big, powerful USB-C chargers and a longer USB-C cable. So if I want to plug in my camera, and I will show you that later, I can use this and find an outlet, and I have a little bit more length. Or if I want to use my iPad and have it a little bit further away, I have that right here. Also, if I want to watch stuff late at night and I don't want to disturb anybody, I wish that we still had headphone jacks for the iPad Pro, but I have to bring this adapter and some earbud, whatever these things are called, ear pods. This is also nice because it has an SD card reader, so if I want to work on footage I'm filming on the road, I can. Usually I film and then I deal with it all at home on my laptop, but sometimes I want to pull a clip and do something for social media or something like that, so this can prove handy. And again, it's not real big. It's a little annoying that I can't just plug this sort of stuff right into the iPad Pro. iPad Pro, it's called, but I have it, bring it, and again, that's not a lot of space in my carry. I also have the dead cat for my Rode VideoMic Pro on the camera, which you'll see in a second, and this is useful if I am filming in windy conditions. And then a few whatever batteries I need on the road. Generally, I only need these 9 volts, and that's because I have the VideoMic Pro that needs 9 volts. The more updated version just charges via USB, and then but I haven't gotten around to getting that yet. This pouch, even though it can pack out big, it also can compress down small, so I find that having all these different pockets is really useful, and this makes me not have to worry about carrying a memory card holder. I have that up here in this little protected area right here. I have an extra SD card and micro SD card. I have almost 10 hours of record capability in 4K on the 2 memory cards in my camera, so I rarely need to dip into more on a week-long trip, but just in case, I have a few in there. And I used to carry a hard case, and I would if I was going into weird weather conditions or something like that and really need to keep things sturdy. But this inside of my backpack, it's something bad would have to happen to me to have those SD cards damaged. I also have to bring extra batteries on the road. I never know when I'm going to run out, so I have my batteries for my camera, my Sony that you're watching on right here, and then I also have batteries for my GoPro, and I forgot to show you my GoPro. So I bring, oftentimes, usually on the road, the GoPro Hero 10 Black, and this thing, and also with just this little tiny tripod. I was using this last night to record a concert, and it's just nice to have a B cam, or I'm gonna go walk around Pittsburgh today and it's gonna be raining, but I wanna get some Jason on the street footage of Pittsburgh, and this is great because it has this screen here so you can see yourself. The audio is pretty decent, or certainly for my purposes, for talking and walking around and exploring the city, and I can get some interesting shots and extra shots, and so I have that. The Hero 10 battery life is not awesome, so I bring some extra batteries, and I was just charging them, so they're in the charger. I don't need to bring the charger. I can just pull them out, and I can just put them in this right here. Finally, I have this Anchor extension cord, basically, and this thing, though this takes up a little bit of space, it is so useful that I bring it on any trip that's not just like a day or two. So it has this little cube kind of configuration. It has 3 USB-A slots, and then it has 3 sockets, and these are so useful. I can plug in my iPad Pro and charge it in a jiffy. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I also bring one of these little Apple USB-A things in case I need to charge something up in the bathroom or something like that. Or it's always nice to have one of these extra. I find I don't realize I need it, and then I need it. So this is what I have in terms of outlets. A lot of the time, I'm staying in a modern hotel like this, and I have like outlet, 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 outlet. I'm fine, but if I get into some Sheraton from the 70s or a friend's house and there's literally one outlet, I have used that to make my life civilized many, many times, enough for me to know that I need to have that in my bag. This all loads quite easily into the Peak backpack, so I'll show you how I do it. In the lower pouch, the tech pouch goes. In the middle pouch right here, that's where the camera goes, and I like the idea of having padding down here, padding up here. Everything is nice and padded here, so even if something drastic happens with this on my back, I'm probably gonna be in reasonably good shape for my camera. That's what I'm really trying to protect. That's the most expensive piece of my kit. The iPad goes back here in the main pouch, the laptop pouch, and the cool thing with this Peak backpack is there is also a slot, it's kind of hard to tell on the camera here, for a tablet, and then there's a little bit of a quick jump spot. This is like you're in a jiffy spot where you just need to grab like your passport or your keys or your glasses or something like that. If this is packed out too tightly, this becomes very difficult to get into, but I deliberately leave the top a little bit loose because I find that I get into this top part all the time. And so in the top part, I usually just carry one Chico bag on the road. It's nice to have a little bit of extra storage when you need it, and this is so small. And then I have a few Kind bars. I haven't even dipped into these at all on this trip, but I think I have 4 in here, just in case I'm at the airport. And I just try to eat as healthy as I can on the road, and I try to stay good to my body and stay in good health. So just having some options. I'm sure there are healthier snacks than these, but these seem to work well for me. And then I take my charging pouch, and that just goes in the top here because I'm constantly pulling that out and pulling the iPad out. Because we've got all these different weather conditions today, my gloves are going to go in the top as well, and I can then take my umbrella, and I think I'll put it in the left one today. It doesn't really matter, but that just goes right there. The cool thing I forgot to mention in this Peak design, there are 2 water bottle holders in this particular bag, and there are all these different handles for grabbing and moving, and then having these, I showed this on the other video, but just real quick, the backpack straps have magnets so they lay flat, and if you pack it out right, it pretty much balances on its own. Not always, but a lot of the time, and it is nice to have a bag that just kind of sits there. I never realized how handy that was until I got this bag, and I find that I'm constantly putting this down, waiting in line at the airport, or I'm at a coffee shop, and I don't want to, my bag's constantly flopping over. It's, again, something that makes life just a little more civilized, and that's a nice thing on the road. Okay, let's head into the bathroom and check out the wash pouch from Peak, which I find super useful. Whether it's a hotel bathroom or a friend's bathroom or something like that, I like to have everything in some pouch that I can remove from the bathroom. It just keeps things nice and organized. And my pouch, I've tried many, but these days I'm using the Peak Design. Lots of Peak Design in this video. The Peak Design mini wash pouch. I can't remember the name. I'll link obviously up to all this stuff in the description below. They have a bigger wash pouch, and it's funny because my wife has the bigger wash pouch, and she says, that wash pouch is too small. And I thought, too small, but the wash pouch is way too big. And so I was so glad that this came out because this is all that I need on the road. I have really dialed this down. This wash pouch, get all these little designs I just love about Peak. They have a little handle here. And you think, why do you need a handle in your wash pouch? I can't tell you how many times I've used this when I'm at a friend's house and I'm carrying a couple things. So that is great. They also have this hook right here, which is super useful for hanging up on some sort of thing like this, or probably, I guess I go like this, and then you can open it up and get it off the counter. I find that really useful, depending on the space. I have lots of counter space here in this bathroom, so I've been leaving it here, but a lot of the time, if I've got a friend and they've got all sorts of stuff right there, this is nice just to get out of the way. In the wash pouch, I love how this is organized. It's got all these little spots right here. This is similar to the Tech pouch as well. And what I bring on the road, I bring one of these soap and conditioner and shampoo bars in one, and I have a case for it, but it's kind of big, and as I either cut the bar in half or as the bar gets smaller, I just put it in a plastic bag. And I find this useful because I don't usually need this. I usually just use the hotel stuff, and again, I am trying to just be as minimal as possible. I just use what's there, so I'm not too particular about any sort of product, in terms of that. And this is really more of like an in a pinch thing. My hair feels a little gross after I use this, but it does work. So that's what I use for shampoo, conditioner, body wash, that sort of thing. And it's so small, so useful. I use Alpha Brain by Onnit. I found this useful. Maybe it's just placebo effect, but I do find that it makes me feel a little bit more alert, almost like a cup of coffee in a good way. And so I've gotten into the habit of taking this in the morning pretty much every day. And I also take Athletic Greens. Yes, I listen to a lot of podcasts that talk about this stuff if you follow along with anything that I do, but I find this to be really nice. At home I take it as well, but on the road I just bring 1 pack per day, and I've only got 1 more day, so I've only got 1 more pack. And I carry this water bottle here, and part of why I like this particular style of water bottle is I can open this up, dump this into the water bottle, shake it up, and I can just drink this with the Athletic Greens in the morning. Make sure to wash it out pretty well, otherwise I've got this sort of weird taste for the water in the rest of the day. But I have found that it seems to be a nice consistency thing while I'm on the road. I'm like eating pizza and eating, I was in Memphis, of course I'm gonna be eating barbecue. not going to eat barbecue. Of course, I'm going to eat barbecue in Memphis. And so just having some vitamins and some greens, and I forget what all is in here. I'll link again to this and everything. I find that to be really helpful. For this particular trip, I'm carrying a stick of full-size deodorant. I have travel deodorant. If it's a couple days, I do that. But sometimes I find myself almost running out of those, or those don't really work as well. So even though this is a bit on the big side, this is a bit on the small side. So it's all about compromise for me. And I find that by having not bottles of shampoo and conditioner and that kind of thing, I can bring the full-size deodorant. And again, probably wouldn't do that for just a couple of nights, but for a week, I find that really helpful. For shaving, I have my razor, and there's just a nice little pouch right here, magnets. Peak loves magnets. That keeps that separate. So I have my razor. I use Harry's products. Again, I listen to too many podcasts, so I do that. I generally just bring one blade on the road. If it was a really long trip, I'd maybe bring another one and put it in plastic, or find there are a couple little spots in here I could hide that away. But these Harry's last for a while, and I find that I can get away with one blade, no problem. I also bring travel shaving cream, and I find that these little Gillette travel things are a size that works well with this Peak bag. I have used Harry's as well, but they're more of like a bottle, and anything that's bulbous in this bag tends to be a little more challenging to get into the bag. Finally, for toothbrush, I just buy this at my local store, and it's all about size, form factor. I could bring an electric. Those are a bit on the long side, so I find that this form factor works well in this bag. These travel toothpaste, just what you get anywhere. If I brought two for this trip because I was gone for a week. One, if it's just a couple days, and then dental floss, and that all goes right here. Cool thing about this bag is these little things can stand up and work well. This is all very easy to clean out and wash. It is just a really, I'm not sure what this material is that it's made of, but it tends to work really well in terms of cleaning out. And then last thing in this bag, there is a little zippered spot here, and I have nail clippers there. I have a couple extra chapsticks and a couple extra hair ties because of this business here. I don't bring a comb. I know that's weird, but I got out of the habit of using a comb. I don't know, just going to the gym for some reason, and so I find that I can make it work without a comb. For my bow case, it's the same bow case I use at home, and this is the same as what I bring to the gig video, but with one, or a couple really exceptions. One is this strap right here, and this is actually a strap by Timbuk2. It's for one of their bike messenger bags, and I find this really useful because I can put it around, and then if I'm wearing a backpack or not wearing a backpack, I can just use this right here to adjust the length, and this works well. And then when I get home, I just take the strap off, throw it in the thing with all my travel gear, and I have it the next time I need it, and I'm back to normal gig mode back in San Francisco. Inside the bow case, it's the same stuff, except couple things. Got, of course, hair tie, because long hair people, you always want to have a hair tie, or I do anyway. My rosin rag, I was borrowing a base, so I want to have all the gear I need for that. So gotta have a rag, or I like to have a rag. And then I have my D'Addario chromatic tuner. I love this for tuning at the gig. Got my tiny little golf pencil. I've got my leatherwood rosin. I've got my mute in here because I'm playing classical gigs. I also have my second bow, just in case. My main bow, Baron-Doling, you've seen that a bajillion times on this channel. And then one new addition is a rock stop. And I haven't talked about this in forever, but I actually did a video about this particular rock stop, the Smart Stop, I believe is the name. I will link to that in the description below too. The stage I was playing on did not let you just spike your end pin in, and that's true for a lot of orchestras. So I have this when I need it, and if I'm not sure, I just bring it, because it's better to have something like this than to not have it and be scrambling. This is a bass player problem, so disregard if you're not a bass player. But small, just goes right here, and then this can all close up nice and neat so that I can pop it in as my carry-on. And the annoying thing with bringing a bow is I need to put my camera gear and all my electronics in my backpack, so then this is my carry-on, so I have to check that bag right there, which is a bummer. I love just carrying on, and if I don't need to bring my bow, I carry on. And that's part of the reason with having that small bag. Even those like puddle jumper planes, some of them will take my bag away from me, but a lot of them, and it depends, sometimes I'm going to smaller towns, so a lot of the time I'm maybe on those, like, you know, one seat on either side, two seat on either side, and if I sweet talk the people at the check-in counter, I can oftentimes get that bag on just about any plane. Okay, let's check out the camera gear, and I'm on my GoPro now, because I can't film with the same camera. So here is my camera set up. This is the Sony a7 IV. I just picked this up at the beginning of 2022, and this is, again, Peak Design. This is the Peak Design travel tripod. So, and then on top here, this is the Rode, try to get a better angle on this. This is the Rode VideoMic Pro. This is the version with the 9-volt battery. I wish I had the version that was USB charged, because it's kind of a bummer if the battery goes out, but it works fine, and someday maybe I'll change it. But this has been remarkably good at getting audio for bass, which is my instrument, and I have found it just super handy. I love this camera. This is a full frame mirrorless camera, and this is the Sony 16 to 35 G Master lens. This is like the vlogger's friend. I was thinking about getting this expensive gear for a while, and I was also thinking about getting a new double bass bow, and I thought, do I really need a double bass bow? If I'm going to spend some money on a piece of gear, I should probably get a better camera. So I did. So this is what I've got, and this, I'll turn it on so you can see. It's probably impossible to see on this screen, but you get really good background blur. This goes down to f2.8, so you can perform pretty well in low light, and you can go again from 35 millimeters down to 16. The other features that I love about this for what I do in particular, there's no recording limit, and as a musician, having a recording limit of 30 minutes, which most other camera brands have, is a bummer because you're recording concerts or interviews, or I am at least, so that's great. And then just little features like I can tell how much battery life I have on this camera. Right up there, this is the end of the video, so I'm at 71%, but I have 2 more batteries, so I can go for a long time. And then on this camera, I can also plug in via USB down here. He says, hopefully, one of these doors. Well, anyway, whatever. I can open this up and plug in via USB-C, and I can go, and I can use then my Anker power brick and plug into that, or if there's an outlet, and I can basically record indefinitely. This also has 2 memory card slots. They're over here, and you can open this up, and you got your 2 memory card slots. There are a lot of uses for 2 memory card slots. You could record just video on one or photos on the other one. I basically use them both for video, and I just have a ton of space on video without having to futz about. So I have almost 10 hours of 4K video on these 2 memory cards right here, and that's really cool. Okay, we're gonna unpack the camera, so I'm gonna turn it off, and I have to make sure to turn this microphone off because this thing will drain if I don't do that. Fold this back in right here, and then I can pop this off with this locking mechanism right here. So just undo this, and I'm going to not show you that because I'm terrified I will drop the camera. All right, the camera is off. Trust me, that locking mechanism works. And then I've got my gigantic lens cover right here. So the microphone, I can leave this on if I need to just pop in and out. And the cool thing with the Peak backpack is I can reconfigure the dividers, so if I need a little more space for the microphone, but I just find when I'm traveling and not using it, pulling the microphone off helps to get it into the bag. This travel tripod is absolutely awesome from Peak. This particular one is carbon fiber. They have a slightly less expensive stainless steel one, and I actually have that one as well. I buy too much gear, but I realize it's just heavy enough that I notice it, and I have just been so happy that I got this carbon fiber. Again, trying to keep the weight down is really important. And so one of the cool things with this design is you can just undo this like this. You undo each one of these legs, and you can go, and it's like this, and it is about the size of a water bottle. And the cool thing is, since we're all in the same ecosystem here with Peak stuff, you put it into the Peak bag and works, fits great in there. And there's a couple extra securing straps and stuff that you can use to really secure it in there. And they even have this little pouch right here that you can use to put the tripod in and give it a little extra protection. I use that to protect the tripod, maybe protect other stuff in my bag. And then when I'm traveling with my hard shell case, this just goes right in there in my roller bag. And if I'm out and about and shooting, I usually keep this not in this case and keep it in the backpack. And if I'm just going for like a day or two, I can just put this in that water bottle holder, and I can get it under my seat in the plane, and it's great. So super useful, and it allows you to get way up off the ground. As you can see, I can also can also take and put all the legs in, and I have a tripod that works great for just talking at a desk or something like that. So this kind of replaces the need for a Joby. Not exactly, it's a little bit heavier than a Joby, but the fact that you have that and don't need to bring any other tripod than this, and then can also get footage for concerts or interviews or something like that. I don't have to constantly be putting it on some sort of surface. I find this to be just such a useful device, and I could get something smaller, but the functionality of this is just absolutely outstanding. And with my Peak travel bag, I've got this empty space right here, so this is going to be where my camera lives, and I just put it in like so, and there is just enough room right here for the microphone like that, and I can zip it up, no problem. If I want to have quick access to it, I can reconfigure these right here, and I can just get to it, and I can keep the microphone on, but since I'm getting on a plane all day tomorrow, I don't need my camera, so I just pack it away like this, and it's got protection up here, nice and secure. Let's take a look at one bag travel. Here I am on another trip, doing a lot of traveling these days, just a one-night trip in Los Angeles, 6 in the morning here, try not to talk too loud and wake up the neighbors, but I brought no bass gear this time, but I did need to film. So I needed to bring my camera, which you have seen, my travel tripod, which you have seen, my microphone, which you have seen. So that's going to take up a fair bit of my Peak design backpack, and we can take a closer look at this. The camera and the microphone can both fit right into this spot right here in this bento box configuration, and then I'm just needing one change of clothes, and I'm not dressing up, I'm just like hanging out normal clothes. So I have just my dirty socks, underwear, t-shirt right here. I wore the same jeans today that I'm going to wear on the plane, and then clothing wise I also have one layer, which I needed even in Los Angeles here today. So just a long sleeve shirt. I could get something that packs down better, but I don't really care, whatever. Just trying to make sure it's dark, so if I get super sweaty, it doesn't show. And then my puffer coat, and I wished I'd brought this along when we went out for dinner last night in LA. Even in LA, it gets cold at night. My travel pouch does just fine, and because I'm in a hotel, I had shampoo and conditioner and soap, so I did not need to bring that. So this packs down real small this time. I just brought travel deodorant, travel shaving cream, which I just finished, so that got disposed of. Because I was filming, I wanted to bring my hardcore power brick, so I brought this big Anchor one here, which works great. It's got USB-C so that I can charge up my iPad or plug my camera in if I thought I was going to go for hours and hours. I basically drained one battery last night. The session I was filming was about an hour or 40 minutes, and then I brought a second battery. So that is being used right now because I thought I might want to shoot this video. And then I just got my 3 cables that I always have with me. This seems to work really well for me, and this little pencil case I find to be super useful. Bags within bags is a great way for me to live my life. I'm also able to reduce what's in my tech pouch because I'm not bringing as much gear. I did not bring my battery chargers. I just brought one of these big wall things for charging quickly USB-C, and so I got a longer USB-C cable, so if I need to plug in the camera and plug into a wall, which is great if there's an outlet, that rarely happens, or use this cable and plug into that Anchor power brick if I need basically infinite power for the camera. That's awesome. And then at night, I plug this in right here. It's long enough to find just about any outlet in any sort of hotel or friend's house. And then I've got my iPad Pro, which is my computing gear I bring around. At some point, I might actually think about going to like an M1 Max or Pro or whatever, 13-inch MacBook Pro, so I can do more video editing on the road. That's kind of the bummer with the iPad. But the positive with the iPad, well, there are a lot of positives. One is a lot of the time I need to read sheet music on the road, so this becomes that, and using Fourscore or Music or whatever app. Here's something we're going to play in a few days back in San Francisco. That works great. I love just using the pencil for taking notes and that kind of thing, and I've been using this as my main travel device for quite some time, and I'm a big fan of the LTE version. I find that so useful. Even though I usually find Wi-Fi, having LTE for those little moments, or I was at the Vegas airport doing a transfer and you have to answer like this 27 question thing before they let you on the Wi-Fi. I did it, but I was resentful, and I thought that's part of the reason why this LTE is so nice. You can just pop it open, and get work done no matter where you are. This seems to work really well for my musician travel lifestyle. This is a great size for under the seat in the plane. I believe this is the 20 liter from Peak Design. I put the backpack straps like that when I get on the plane. It just goes right under. And that brings me to the last couple things in the bag. I got my water bottle. Even though I'm just going for a day, I like to have this with me because I never know when I'm going to get thirsty. So one of the great things about this bag are these 2 water bottle pockets, and I'm going to use both of them on this trip. I'll put my water bottle in one, it doesn't matter which side, and then on the other one, I'll put my travel tripod, and that's going to go in here. My GoPro did not make it on this quick trip, so I'm recording on my phone just to give you an idea of how this bag packs out when it's fully packed like this. I think you can see in the mirror, we got water bottle right over there, and we've got the tripod right there. It's strapped in, and it's not the lightest thing I've ever carried on my body, but it's not terrible. And this bag is built so well that you can kind of keep it off your back. Like this right here, by the way, luggage pass-through right here, super useful. And just this material is very comfortable. Having the sternum strap right here, I find this to be super useful. And I use that sternum strap a lot. Not if I'm just like going from the airport lounge to the gate or something like that, but when I'm walking to the train. I did walk to the train yesterday morning when I went to go start this trip. I'll walk from the train to go pick up some music from the San Francisco Symphony after this. So this is a great way for me to do these short trips without having a roller bag, and so it just makes my life a little bit easier. I can be the last person on the plane. You can put that bag right under the seat in front of me. Final touches with the backpack. I am not going to wear it to start off the day, but I'll probably need it, so my puffer coat goes right up top here. The water bottle goes into this other side right here. That's the cool thing about having 2 water bottle holders. Even if you don't do camera stuff, umbrella right here, water bottle right here, bag is right here, goes on my back, and the sternum strap is wonderful for kind of distributing the weight a little bit better. So I put that on like here, give it a little tug. I am comfortable. And then my bow just goes right over the top here. Pick the bow, take the eye case, pull it out, and I am ready to go.